Hey guys, DC Network here, coming at you with another video. So in the Cartoon Network 2018 to 2019 slate that I talked about last video, there's actually one thing I didn't really talk about, and that's what's under the Ben 10 Reboot section of the slate. Now, when you look under the returning series portion of the slate and look at the Ben 10 Reboot, it says this: greenlit for a third season, Ben, Cousin Gwen, and Grandpa Max are back in the series created by Man of Action. New episodes from the current season include a half-hour special. Will introduce the newest alien trying to invade Ben's world, Shock Rock, who is looking to conquer the world and drain the planet of energy and resources. Now, hold on one second. Shock Rock, the newest alien trying to conquer the world? Isn't he just another alien in Ben's Omnitrix? And yeah, he is the 11th alien, technically the 12th alien in Ben's Omnitrix. So you know what Man of Action is doing? They're pulling another Ghostfreak. Shock Rock is the new Ghostfreak. Now, why is he the new Ghostfreak? I don't know. Why wouldn't they just do this again with Ghostfreak? Again, I don't know. I am very confused as to why they introduced Shock Rock as a new alien, and he's behind all the Omni enhancements, and now he's going to become the villain of the show, a new villain? So does that mean I'm assuming he leaves the Omnitrix if he's a villain? And so, if he leaves the Omnitrix and becomes a villain, that means all the Omni Enhanced are gone. You know, this raises a lot of questions. Like, for example, is he the reason that Ben fuses with Upgrade in Season 3? Is he going to be the reason that there's a new villain? I mean, maybe he is the new villain that they talked about at the Toy Fair. All in all, I'm just thinking, you know what, Man of Action? This reboot has just turned into you guys doing a bunch of cheap moves just to try to get more merchandise sales. I mean, if you're gonna do pretty much everything that happened in the original series in the reboot, then why did you reboot the show? I mean, yeah, the original 10 aliens are different from the original 10 from Ben 10, the original Ben 10, but it's barely even different at all. The only difference is that Ripjaws is gone, Wildmutt's gone, and Cannonbolt is part of the original 10 instead of Ghostfreak. That's literally the only difference from this show to the original show, besides the fact that it's a watered down version of what Ben 10 should be and what it's always been. Seriously, I'm going to ask you again, why did you reboot the show if it's pretty much the same thing that the old one was? Except, obviously that you made it into a comedy, you made it for 5-year-olds, and that's it. You could have just continued this Ben 10 franchise, honestly. You didn't need to reboot it if you're just going to do pretty much everything that happened in the original, just under different names and stuff. Like, seriously, you look at the reboot, every single villain so far, except for the Grange, that stupid racer, and Steam Smythe, who I also don't like at all. Other than that, and Sydney, and that bug thing, the bug and the guy, whatever their names are, other than those guys, those are pretty much the only new recurring villains in the reboot. And to be honest, my opinion, I think 2 of those 3 are garbage. I think that Lagrange is garbage, and I think that Steam Smythe is also garbage. I do actually like the bug guy, Sydney, the ones where they switch bodies and stuff, whatever. I do like those guys. I think those are actually pretty cool. But besides that, the reboot is basically just a bad version of the original series. I'm not going to go into, everything that's bad about the reboot, because then we're going to be here forever. And plus, I've mentioned what's bad about the reboot in some of my other videos, and I'm sure you guys know what's bad about the reboot. You have your own opinions on the show. But I know what you're probably thinking, some of you at least, who are defending the reboot. DC Network, a reboot, of course it's going to be similar to the original. It's the same franchise, it's just a reboot because they want to bring it to a new generation of kids. But the thing is that Ben 10 didn't need to be rebooted. It didn't need to be brought to a new generation of kids. If they truly wanted to, they could go back, this is the new generation of kids, they could go back and watch the original Ben 10 online. You don't have to reboot it. Seriously, it's not like anybody's saying, oh, you know what I really miss from when I was younger? I miss that show called Ben 10. No one was saying that because you guys were still doing Ben 10 before you decided to do a reboot. Obviously you had the original Alien Force Ultimate Alien Omniverse, and then what should have come next, which I've said many, many times before, Ben 10,000. But instead, you're like, you know what? If we do Ben 10,000, no one's going to know what Ben 10 is because it happened so long ago. No. If you did Ben 10,000, everyone's going to know what Ben 10 is because it happened literally 10 years prior to that, or just about 10 years. Probably it came out, 2005, so it would have been, at this point, 13 years But still, it's about 10 to 13 years, depending on when Ben 10,000 would have premiered. No one forgot what Ben 10 was. It's not like this is something that came out in the 70s or the 80s, and then people are like, "Oh man, you know what? They should really redo Ben 10 because it's not really valid anymore because no one watches it. It's hard to find." No, I can literally walk on my shelf about 10 feet away from where I'm sitting and pick up the 4 DVDs of Ben 10, which can still be purchased on Amazon or pretty much any other website today. So this isn't like this show's been missing in action for the past 30 years or whatever. You can literally go online, you can go on demand even, or you can go to a store to go see the previous episodes of this show. So there was absolutely no need to reboot it. It should have never gotten rebooted, and it's kind of ridiculous to see what's being done in the reboot. You know, some stuff I do like I said, that villain before, I do like him. You know, I don't think I've ever said this before, but I do like Overflow, even though it's just pretty much Water Hazard with a rename and a redesign. The new Stinkfly, I like it as a design. I don't like it as Stinkfly. They should have named it something else and not called it Stinkfly, because you look at the original Stinkfly, and I'll have a little comparison on screen now. Look at the original Stinkfly. Look at this Stinkfly. It's literally unrecognizable. I know why they did it, because apparently the concept art for the original Stinkfly was a humanoid with like fly wings and stuff, so they made the concept art or the original Stinkfly into the reboot Stinkfly. But still, it's stupid. I like the design. I hate it as Stinkfly though. All in all, the reboot never needed to happen. You could have done Ben 10,000. Cartoon Network could have still have been swimming in cash, and there was literally no need to do this reboot. You're taking things from the original, elements from the original show, like Ghostfreak turning evil, and you're doing it with other characters. Shock Rock now. You're not even doing original storylines. Like I said before, I understand how you're going to reuse stuff because it's a reboot, but do you really need to reuse a storyline for another character? I would understand if they brought Ghostfreak back, right? Then they did the storyline, the whole thing with Ghostfreak all over again. That would be fine. That makes sense. But to do the storyline with Ghostfreak with another alien, is that really necessary? I mean, come on. At least when they brought Gax into the reboot, which I actually like Gax as well. That's another thing I like from the reboot. But at least when they brought Gax in, at least it was somewhat of an original story for, Vilgax was like, didn't have all of his power back, and he needed to get the DNA of Gax from the Omnitrix in order to get all of his power. I mean, it did have Ghostfreak vibes coming from it, but at least it was somewhat original. I mean, I'm assuming that they're going to try to make the Shock Rock, whatever happens to him, original as well. But still, can't you just, I don't know, overall, honestly, I wish the reboot didn't happen. They could have done Ben 10,000 instead. They could have done, Shock Rock and Ben 10,000 if they wanted to. They could have made him another alien that went haywire and left the Omnitrix, and that would have been fine, because it's like, oh, remember that episode in Ultimate Alien or Alien Force where Big Chill, Ben thought, oh no, this is my second alien who's going haywire, is going to turn evil and leave the Omnitrix? They could have done the same thing with Shock Rock, and Ben 10,000 could have been like, oh cool, new alien, oh wow, it's another Ghost Freak situation I have on my hands. That could be cool, that would have been fine, but I don't know. Overall, I just wish they didn't do a reboot, and I know many of you wish they didn't do it as well. Anyways, leave a comment in the comment section below if you think this is a cheap move by Man of Action and Cartoon Network, that they're rehashing a story for a different alien in the original series and just putting it on a new alien, basically. Just reusing old assets, but in a different way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.